So you raise a couple interesting issues there. One that I think is this idea that antitrust should move away from the consumer welfare standard, and it should try to include all these other factors, right? Labor or environmentalism or things that, and we're hearing from practitioners at the FTC in merger, reviews and second requests are asking about labor issues and broader than just consumer welfare oriented questions, inherently makes antitrust a more politicized endeavor, because it is not simply saying, okay, here's the thing that you're supposed to pursue, and you pursue that. It's getting you to weigh things in a way a legislature should really be weighing things, right? So how do you weigh labor interests over consumer interests as an antitrust enforcement, right? The agencies aren't the Department of Labor, right? And Congress makes detailed and statutory provisions for labor and things like that. Has a whole agency that applies that. But now to kind of import that into an antitrust analysis, I think makes it just inherently more politicized. I also think that one of the things that we had previously around this more consensus view that antitrust was supposed to be focused on consumers, we're supposed to look at economic analysis, and that we looked at the rule of reason, basically followed the law as the courts had set it out. That there were sharp disagreements. I had sharp disagreements with my Democratic colleagues. Tim, I'm sure, had some from time to time, but there was a core consensus that allowed for transparency and predictability in enforcement. That when you counseled companies, you could, generally say, I think this deal is going to raise big problems, or I think this deal is going to get through. One of the things that we're seeing now is at the FTC, they've stopped early terminations. So the least problematic deals, don't get sort of triaged out. They are telling people that they're at the end of the 30-day review period under the Hart-Scott-Rodino Act, that they close at their own risk rather than the agency kind of, moving things along. And they are trying to create a lot more uncertainty and difficulty in mergers, which again, I think creates this sort of political issue where Congress enacted the Hart-Scott-Rodino Act. Congress decided sort of where the boundaries were going to be and the structure. Now, certainly any merger, just because it didn't get reported under Hart-Scott-Rodino, or even if it didn't get, reviewed, that doesn't mean it gets a free pass forever. The agencies can always go back. But the FTC sort of unilaterally is trying to change those lines. And so that is, again, kind of a politicized process versus, adhering to where Congress set the rules. So I think that also raises, makes it more difficult. Certainly makes it more difficult to achieve a bipartisan approach. And that was one of the real hallmarks of the FTC. It's bipartisanship that, I think would be a shame for that to be sort of devalued.